In this video, I get rid of this silly extension cord from my welder and properly wire in a plug on the wall. And then I also need to make way for the new welding table that I'm making on this channel that's going to fit underneath my workbench. I need to move my welder where my bottles are and move my bottles to the other side of the garage. And so I needed to find a clean way of doing this and a safe way to secure the bottles up against the wall. And so I had to run gas lines through the attic, across the shop, and then down to the other side. And this is just going to make things much more cleaner. It's going to give me the space that I need. It was a pretty fun project to do. Let's get to it. Now I could have just done something simple with, some box tubing or something to secure these bottles to the wall, but I wanted to make something a little bit more interesting and fun to make. Kind of just get back to making some stuff by hand. Been so used to making things with the computer and designing it and using, my CNC machines just to kind of hone those skills. And it's pretty apparent that my skills are a little bit rusty, but it's a lot of fun to do. Not perfect. Now this was a quick and dirty job, and so I just went to my local hardware store, went through their little metal rack, and found some simple, round bar, and I just thought I would just kind of hand bend these on my table here. Now the bends aren't super clean, but I think for the application it's going to come out pretty good. I needed to make this front door, open and close so that I could put the bottles in. But my first thought was to use just some some simple little hinges from the hardware store. I end up having to abandon that idea of cutting the hinge off. And then for the door latch, I tried a couple variations. I tried something simple with just some random hardware I had, but it just ended up being really sloppy, and it didn't look great. And then I tried a kind of a swinging latch for the door, and it was terrible as well. So I just completely abandoned all of the hinging and the latches and end up just moving towards bolting it together with a welded bolt on the back side. That way I just had a nut on the front, and as infrequently as I will be opening and closing this, I thought it's just not that big of a deal to have it where it bolts together. Plus it holds everything nice and tight in alignment, so that's what I went with. And there it is. That's kind of the final product there. I threw some flat black paint on it to kind of blend in the imperfections and kind of hide some of my bad work, but it came out pretty good, and it'll do the job. Now off camera, I had to put up this 2x4 on the wall because the stem wall actually protrudes past the sheetrock on the ground, and I did not account for that in my depth of my little corral here, and so I had to add this 2x4 against the wall to space the bottles away from the wall to get past that stem wall on the ground. Finally got a chance to try out this cool new hole saw that I bought off of Amazon. It's called a QUICKCORE, and it's neat because all the hole saws just quickly interchange. You can pull them on and off, and what's really cool is, you know, when you get a plugs stuck in the in the hole saw after, you know, cutting plywood or sheetrock. In this case, I had 3 holes that I cut with this hole saw, and it makes it really easy to clean out the center of the hole saw when you can pull the hole saw off and just like jam something through the back side. So here you can see how easy it comes off. And I chose to try to clean this out in the most ridiculous way possible and made a huge mess. So don't do that. Now, I'm not an electrician by any means, at all actually, so don't do what I do unless it's right. I don't even know if it's right, but it works. I was trying to figure out a simple way of finishing out the end of this conduit for the air hose, and I was just going to put another, you know, outlet box and then somehow put a quick disconnect on it, but I ended up finding these little fittings that had a cap that had the perfect size hole, and it was smooth on the inside. The threaded part just Gorilla Glue on it, and it was almost a press fit, and I was able to tap it in there with a rubber mallet, and it really set itself. I mean, there's no pressure on this whatsoever. And then I could feed this nut over the gas line and just screw it in, and it kind of created a nice clean finished end, and it supports the air hose. And I think it turned out to be a pretty good solution, and it was inexpensive. Overall, I'm really happy with how this project came out. It looks pretty clean, and now I have room for my new welding table to fit underneath my workbench. A bonus that I really wasn't thinking about was that moving the bottles now gives me a whole lot more light coming through my window, which is nice for the shop. I got my little shop buddy help me again. So there we go. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Looking forward to doing more projects and putting out some more videos. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.